Hurricane Maria devastated the island of Puerto Rico, causing many residents to flee and seek refuge elsewhere, including many communities right here in western Massachusetts. But finding housing for them can be complicated. Connecting Point's Veronica Garcia sat down with the Housing Authority directors for the cities of Springfield and Holyoke to discuss the current state of the housing situation for those here in western Mass who were displaced by Maria.
We administer both public housing and Section 8, two forms of housing that allow us to provide subsidy to individuals that might be relocating here from Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, those wait lists are long, but we do allow them to enter onto our wait list, both state and federal public housing, as well as our MRVP and our Section 8 federal voucher program.
The Section 8 program has a provision called portability. So if people from Puerto Rico or any other area want to use their housing voucher that pays part of the rent in this area, they're allowed to take their voucher and bring it here to Springfield, and then the Springfield Housing Authority will pick up the voucher and administer it. And I think that we have had about 50 or 60 people who have used the portability provision to come from Puerto Rico here since the hurricanes.
And it is true that about 3,000 families are in the waiting list, and only 300 apartments are available annually.
That's exactly right, and the demand for those apartments, as you can imagine, far exceeds the supply. So we have people waiting years on the waiting lists, and we have had, of all the people, I think it's about 300 that we have had applying for public housing after the hurricanes in Puerto Rico. We've only been able to house a little over 20 families. So it's very, very tough because the supply just is not there.
Yeah. We recognize the same issues in Holyoke. Our wait lists are over 5 years long for our federal public housing. I think we recognize in the Pioneer Valley, though, that there has to be a regional approach across organizations to solve this problem. I don't think it can be incumbent upon the housing authorities alone to solve that problem. I know the Catholic Diocese does some great work around housing. We have Habitat for Humanity. So I think it has to be a regional plan to solve this issue of long wait lists and providing housing for those that need.
And who has priority to receive any kind of assistance or support or service?
In Holyoke, we have a local preference for folks that are from Holyoke, working veterans, elders, but also we have a preference for people that have been displaced due to emergency outside of their own control.
Similar also in Springfield, but the priority for people displaced by, say, hurricanes or federally declared disaster actually comes behind some of the other priorities, and this is under the federal standards that we have to administer. So the line just keeps extending. It's very difficult, and I'd just take a minute to second what Matthew said about a larger approach needed. Housing authorities just don't have the resources even to deal with people who are looking for housing in the community, much less people who are displaced. So we not only need, I might even take it one step a little bit larger, not only a regional approach, which would be great, but we actually need a statewide and a national approach because the problems that we're trying to cope with, trying to deal with, really are national problems. There's a national crisis about affordable housing, and we're just getting one little piece of it here.
So with FEMA no longer provide any assistance, this is causing housing and homeless crisis. How do you deal with this situation?
Well, luckily enough in Holyoke, we've been able to find a small allocation of voucher funding within our own portfolio through attrition that we're going to allocate very shortly to those folks that find themselves in shelter housing. But again, I think this goes back to the idea of the region having dealt with a homeless issue for quite some time. And how do we handle that just beyond this hurricane crisis? We recognize that that's added additional burdens and stresses to the program. But I think we have to think and look larger picture. How do we solve this problem going forward, just beyond just this particular issue?
And I might add one other step that the Springfield Housing Authority has taken, perhaps you've done that in Holyoke too. So many people who live on the island and are coming either to visit or because of being displaced have family members here. And in most housing authorities, including Springfield, there's a limit on how long a guest, if it's a family member or any other guest, is allowed to stay in a family member's apartment, generally 21 days. What our Board of Commissioners, the governing body of the Springfield Housing Authority, has done is extended that to 90 days with additional extensions available for people who have been displaced. So maybe take off a little bit of the pressure when people are in a crisis and they just need a roof over their head.
And are you working with other agencies to provide other extra support to these families?
I've been lucky enough to have worked on and sat on a couple of panels that have been regional in nature. I've participated in a couple of roundtable meetings up in Northampton. The Housing Authority participated along with the Northampton Housing Authority, the Catholic Diocese, Valley Opportunity Council, so a number of agencies. I think Springfield might have had a representative there as well that talked about how can we house folks, because we have people living in hotels in West Springfield and Holyoke and Northampton. So how do we get these folks into permanent housing? Because we all recognize that that's not the optimal way to have people living in hotels and having to send their kids to school. So it's impactful beyond just the housing need, but how do people live a normal lifestyle living in a hotel?
And here in Springfield, it's the same. And here in Springfield, two of the partners that we work with quite extensively, one would be Wayfinders, otherwise previously known as HAP Housing, which has a very large housing program and does a lot of work with homeless populations and getting homeless people out of the shelters and into more permanent housing. And then the city of Springfield itself, which has put a lot of resources into trying to cope with the problem, both in terms of housing and other services, and also in terms of the schools.
So who can families contact for help?
They can call the Holyoke Housing Authority. Obviously, they could call the Springfield Housing Authority. In Holyoke, they should be reaching out to Nueva Esperanza so that they are functioning as our local hub for service providers. So if they needed career counseling, if you went there, they would put you in contact with Career Point and Holyoke Community College, and then they would contact the Housing Authority. But, directly to us or to that organization.
And that is exactly the same too, 413-785-4500, and we'll give out as much information to help people as we can.
Thank you.